sunlight is awful for me.
So what have you noticed going on around here recently as far as businesses and construction goes?
A lot of repainting of buildings to kind of bring them into the modern look as opposed to the 80s and 70s when they were built. And also a lot of new construction technically going up. New restaurants, new hangout places, I guess you would call it, because Starbucks is a hangout place to me, not a restaurant.
Starbucks is theoretically for the more affluent crowd.
Affluent crowd, yeah.
But it's interesting you said going up, because that is what I expect to see happening more, not just here, but in general with building up to maximize the space. Obviously, real estate, land, they're not building any more of it. But what's going away to make that happen? Because we got a finite amount of space here.
Open land is going away, and older businesses that I guess aren't getting the right kind of foot traffic. A lot of mom and pop, like, knockoff restaurants have gone out.
You hit the nail on the head. But we know that consumers are pulling back on their spending. We know that. But what consumers? Because you said some of these mom and pop, smaller restaurants, in my opinion, closer to budget friendly. Whereas, what restaurants are typically full?
Oh, the touristy ones, the ones on the beach that cost.
Okay.
Oh, the chain restaurants.
No, not necessarily touristy.
Oh.
But yeah, on the beach for sure.
On the beach ones for sure. And then ones that people already know what they are.
And they're expensive.
And they're not cheap. Well, I mean, Olive Garden is more expensive than it used to be, but it's still one of the cheaper options around here.
Olive Garden gets a pass, Cracker Barrel gets a pass.
Which is weird because Cracker Barrel, their prices have gone up a good amount, but Cracker Barrel will always get a pass because it's Cracker Barrel.
But like $7.90?
Okay, so $7.90 is Beauchamp's is expensive. I'm not gonna lie. Crab Shack. But
we're talking about $35, $40 a plate.
But you're also paying for the view. So to me,
and they don't have a problem keeping butts in the seats.
Not at all. It is constantly packed. It does not matter what time they open, what time they close. They are constantly busy. Whereas even the ones that are more budget friendly aren't as busy. Olive Garden, yes, has people, but it's not as busy. Cracker Barrel is not going to be nearly as busy, but they also don't have the view that a lot of people are willing to pay for. Because the food is also really, really good at a lot of these beachfront locations, but even if it wasn't, most people would still be willing to pay the price because of what you get to see while you're sitting there.
Now get this though, we are in off season.
Now my stomach's growling.
We're off season. We're off season.
Are we though? Because look how much traffic there is.
Yeah, but off season, there are particular restaurants that are always packed.
Beauchamp's.
They're not relying on the tourist spring, summer, early fall traffic to float them through the winter.
That's the locals that are willing to go there and still spend that amount of money.
So I don't think it even matters about the view. These folks are looking to spend $30, $40, $50+ a plate every night, okay? Meanwhile, some of these other businesses got to go. You know, some of these, underperforming businesses got to go.
Now, here's the thing, though. You're saying $30, $40, $50 a plate, which is true, but also those restaurants have superior service compared to other restaurants that maybe don't.
Well, then that needs
that's the nicest way to say that.
That needs to be something that some folks need to take into consideration if they're looking to maintain gainful employment, because in my opinion, what we're seeing is the little guys getting eliminated, the underperforming businesses getting eliminated, the budget-friendly, lower-price options getting eliminated, and we're going to see more rental opportunities in high-rise builds. We're going to see more condo opportunities, probably starting at $1 million.
Yeah.
Probably starting at $1 million, not on the water, and restaurants that are 4+ stars, 4+, 5+ dollar signs, and we'll have a wait.
So here's the thing. I look at condos around here, like within I'd say like a 200-mile radius all the time, just because I'm very curious about prices and who has what and what's what. And you can find a condo here for like $1 million, and the one that I always think of doesn't even have a refrigerator in it. It is the world's tiniest, smallest kitchen. You could not open a drawer without hitting another drawer, and it does not have a refrigerator, yet it goes over $1 million because it is on the water.
But the point is, here, look, plain and simple.
Plain and simple.
Plain and simple is that developers, investors, businesses, banks, BlackRock,
Vanguard. No.
they're all focused on the more affluent crowd that is above middle class that can afford this.
But you're looking at it the wrong way. You're looking at it as the above middle class that can afford this, as opposed to the trying to pretend they are above middle class and can afford this, but have credit cards and are willing to use them so that they can live the life and show that they can live the life.
Nah, I mean, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, they're not going to someone looking to get a $7.95 buffet, okay?
No.
They're not going for somebody looking to get a beachfront bargain hunt for under $300,000.
No.
They're not even looking to make affordable housing rental options that are under, let's just say, under $1,200 a month. Not going to happen. Not going to happen.
No.
Now, granted, we're in our super hyper local market here, on the beach in Florida, but this is just only going to permeate and trickle out. Granted, unless you want to live like in the middle of nowhere in like Kansas or something, then it is what it is. But for the most part, where major percentages of the U.S. population reside, it's game over for low income, poorer people.
Which is what's crazy, because there are a lot of people who need cheaper options. So what happens when they can't get them? I mean, that's why in theory, that's why Dollar General started popping up everywhere, was to help people with lower whatever, but even that's not.
So what happens when they need it? That is a whole nother story. We can talk about it in another video. But think about it, even California has forced developers and builders' hands because of laws and regulations that prevent them from legally being able to build affordable housing. They can't do it. So instead, what do? They build more expensive housing. Why? Because for the limited area that they have to work with, they're going to make the most per square foot. They're going to make the most money, as many dollars as possible per square foot, to cover the fact that the volume will be slightly less because they're not catering to every income bracket. So they're just going to continuously push that trend. They're going to continuously push that trend. We see it with housing, with rentals, with vehicles. I mean, the average new car price is like $45,000, $50,000, but even that's just base model entry level. If you want something nice, you're looking at 80 plus grand, and the banks have pushed the financing to make that happen with affordable payments for those who can afford $1,000 to $2,000 a month on a payment, but they're making it up in volume, in the profit, not so much the volume. And we're gonna see that with real estate. We're gonna see it with restaurants. Restaurants, in my opinion, are going to die off. Well,
I would think the ones with drive-throughs will be the first ones to go. Unless it's by a freeway.
Let me rephrase this. Businesses are going to die off. Businesses are going to die off in the sense of the once typical brick and mortar business. You saw the furniture place. I don't know if you noticed it today. It's gone. They were taking the letters off the building today at House. It's empty. It's gone.
Oh.
And most of these businesses, these brick and mortar businesses, are going to go away. They're going to be wiped out. They're going to be crushed by this economy. They are going to reemerge, if not their own, somebody who's thinking ahead of the game and being very smart and proactive is going to recreate these businesses in a virtual space using OpenAI, using ChatGPT, using the metaverse, using virtual reality, automation, and technology. They're going to redesign business altogether where they can reach more customers sitting on their couch with a pair of VR goggles on than they could ever with basic foot traffic.
God, it sounds awful.
With that being said, so will restaurants. But restaurants, in my opinion, have a sweet spot. They have a sweet spot because it's kind of hard to deliver food virtually.
So this is what I was just thinking. You're talking about the VR thing and everything. I'm thinking of, you get one of those little cubes and you put your VR helmet on and you're at whatever restaurant you want to be at, whether it's on the beach or by a lake or in a desert or whatever else. And you put the cube in your mouth and it tastes like whatever you just ordered off the VR menu. And I can see that happening. I mean, it's been in movies, so it makes sense, but y'all, that sounds flippin' miserable.
Well,
that sounds miserable to me. I have zero interest in that.
You may want to talk to Lauren about this, maybe get her on a video, because she can explain to you the neurological component behind that.
That's true.
And they could actually pull that off with just sense.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
With just like
the smell of something.
Sense, and maybe some few electromagnetic pulses, maybe they could pull that off.
Do an extra.
They could pull that off. But I think that businesses are crushed for the most part. Brick and mortar is done. Restaurants are going to have a little bit of a sweet spot because of the fact that people, you have to physically eat.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the smaller, more affordable, see, that's the problem, more affordable. You go to Chipotle, you go to Chick-fil-A,
and those are no longer affordable.
That it's going to be affordable, and then you're like, it's like $12 a person. You're like, well, I'll just go and spend $6 more and get,
like a real meal with vegetables and a good starch and nice protein.
Exactly. The people that are spending the money at these high-end restaurants are not going to Chick-fil-A. So I think restaurants are going to have this little sweet spot where either you can provide value at a low price, or you're done, or you're going to provide service at a high price and you're golden. And I think that we're going to see that, and then we're also going to see the shift in housing and real estate, and more than likely rentals, more than likely long-term rentals, that people will no longer be able to buy anything. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy at higher prices, starting at $3,000-$4,000 a month.
So I was looking at apartments because we live in an apartment, and I was looking at other ones in the area just to see what was what, and I found one that was cheaper, and I was like, oh, this is great. You know, it's not as nice as the one we're in, just kind of trying to see what was out there, and it was like $500 cheaper a month, and I was like, oh, we could probably do something like that if we ever wanted to move or whatever else. But then I realized that they also did not have washer and dryers in their apartments like we do. They had a community laundry room where you had to go pay to wash your clothes, and I feel like that you're either going to have that kind of option where if you want a lower price, you're going to have no amenities, no anything that you would normally want, versus you pay through the roof and you get a pool and you get somewhere to park your car and you get a washing machine.
While it's available until those owners sell out. For instance, a lot of owners have sold their mobile home communities or mobile home trailer park communities to big investors and some smaller investors that are coming in with huge dollar signs, paying cash, and they're selling these spaces of land. They're evicting, and they're kicking out all these mobile home, trailer home people that lived there for decades because they sold out to the highest dollar. The new owner has nothing, they don't want anything to do with it. They're gonna clear it, and then they're gonna build up, and they're gonna charge through the roof for it, and they're gonna get it, okay? And here, I already got my eye on two particular locations that they're gonna sell. And they're probably family owned. They've probably been here and been doing this for generations. And today, the way that the economy is, the way that the shift is, the changes that are underway, the younger generation that has now inherited this, the third or fourth time over, they're going to sell it.
Are you talking about a restaurant or?
There's a few. I don't want to.
Oh, I know, but now I gotta sit here and think.
They're going to sell it. They're going to take the money and run. They're going to get demoed, and they're going to build up. And much like you said, a lot of painting going on. This is going to become a much more higher end, upscale area market, and it's going to demand the dollars. They're going to get it.
That sucks for those of us who
they're going to get it.
Don't want to have to pay that. And
then everybody else like around, it's just going to start trickling out. Navarre has already started. Oh
yeah, that's true. They've started building higher end things to try to bring in more money over there.
So it's going to happen. It's happening, and I just hope people are prepared and ready for it.
So where do people go when they get pushed out?